What was most important to you during childhood? Now imagine your life without that. All too often, we fail children during the most crucial time of their lives, childhood, a time that lays the foundation for everything to come. Trauma during this pivotal time can fundamentally reshape our brains, and the ghosts of these traumas can haunt us for life. What happens during these first years of life has outsized influence on who we will become, how we will form relationships, and ultimately, if we get to determine our path in life.
Life before Allies was very stressful. It's kind of around the time we became homeless, so it was very stressful. We didn't have the RV yet. We were staying sometimes in the car, sometimes in the hotels, worrying about looking outside to see if the ticket person or the police are marking our tires. Then they told me that they had an opening for both Alex Xavier and Melody here. I came to see it and I liked it. It was really nice. And then the Allies allowed us to park the RV here in the parking lot, which took out like a lot of the stress. Basically all of the stress off, because nobody was like harassing us or telling us that we can't park here. Before he came to the Allies, at that point, he was scared to even meet new people. He would cry with new people. He had a lot of tantrums, and I think it was because he couldn't speak to me and tell me what he wanted. And there was times that he hit his head on the floor. So Allies helped a lot with him getting into speech. Alex Xavier didn't speak when he got here. The only word he would say was Dad. And then he started saying Mom when he came here, like the first month probably. I've been very proud of him because he's really, really smart. Like, he's learned so much coming here. Like, he knows his colors, he knows his numbers, his ABCs. His whole attitude, I say, changed towards people, because before, like I said, before we even came here, he was afraid. And now he tries to say hi to people. He smiles more. Where would I be without Allies? I honestly don't know where I would be. We're really thankful for everything that they do.
The most important thing in a child's life, I think, is giving them, I say, lots of love in a home.
Children who have experienced adversity during childhood are more likely to suffer profound mental health and health consequences throughout their lives. They're more likely to battle depression and addiction, attempt suicide, and suffer from chronic disease. Children who have suffered high rates of trauma during childhood die roughly 20 years earlier than their peers. Allies for Every Child exists to serve these children.
Santiago, he's a loving little kid. Since I first got him, something about him, he like latched onto me. I have 4 grandkids. They're all mine. Their mother's my daughter. She was in an abusive relationship. So I took over the kids and I was fostering them, and I wanted them all to be together. I got custody of my grandkids and I was like, okay, who's gonna take care of them? I work full time, and I was lucky to get in, very lucky to get in. I felt grateful because they accepted all my kids. They took their time with all the challenges. There's a lot of classes here and there's a lot of resources. So in here they learn how to open up and adapt. He feels secure. He feels secure, and he can wake up and I say, okay, come on, go to school. Okay, I'm going to school. I'm going to go see teacher Aisha. I'm going to go see teacher Nikki. And so he likes it. What is the most important thing in a child's life? Security and faith, because without that security, you're not going to have faith, or better yet, without the faith, you're not going to have that security. Everything's going to be okay.
Without Allies for Every Child, children who show symptoms of the trauma they've endured are the very kids who are expelled from school before they even start kindergarten. Preschool children are expelled 3 times that of children in K through 12. African American children account for a disproportionate number of these expulsions. We understand trauma, so rather than push children out, our team of experts draws them in. With Allies, every child knows they are safe and that they matter. Thankfully for children who have experienced trauma, history isn't destiny. Research shows the presence of one consistent caregiver during childhood can stave off the dire consequences that trauma exacts. Our team of experts work together with caregivers so that they can be the parent, grandparent, or foster parent that they want to be. There are currently 28,000 children in foster care in Los Angeles. Without a permanent family, only 58% will graduate from high school and only 3% will graduate from college. 50% of children who age out of foster care will become homeless within 1 year, and 60% of child sex trafficking victims are in foster care. At Allies for Every Child, we don't accept these outcomes. We connect children with loving, supportive homes and provide extensive support to foster parents so they can be the loving family every child deserves. 93% of children in Allies foster care achieve permanency with their first placement, allowing them to build the secure attachments that allow them to share in the promise of childhood.
It's such a whirlwind, you know, going and meeting your baby for the first time. And so this was it. This was literally the first time we saw him just sleeping in that crib so peacefully. And then a few minutes later, scooped him up and got to hold him for the first time. Yeah. And I remember getting the phone call from the social worker, and the next day we went to the hospital and Allies was there with us.
You know, you're prepared. You already have a car seat at that point because
Right.
that's part of the checklist.
That's right.
You already have your room set up, you know, physically. But emotionally is when you have the moment of really meeting the child. Of course, that was special, and that's when we became a family.
Yeah.
Because he's so attentive to the world, we'll be walking down the street and he will, like 3 little rows up, be like, a dandelion, because he is so curious about the world, and he'll stop and think, and I'll say, Avery, what are you thinking about? And he'll tell me. The other night, I was looking, I said, Avery, what are you thinking about? And he said, I'm thinking about the sunset.
Yeah.
You just see things differently. You start to take joy in small things the way that he does. And that's a wonderful lesson and thing that children bring to your life.
One of the myths that I thought about fostering a child is that you just get that child and you're kind of on your own. Again, there's been a lot of support from Allies, which has been great. Any little issue we have with development, right away we're able to get help.
You know, especially early, we're having people come in and assess his development.
And I think that's been the biggest surprise for us, is that you don't have to be 100% ready. You just have to take the next step. There's no such thing as being 100% ready to, I think, be a parent at all, let alone go into this whole process. And it's about creating a community and a network of resources for yourself, not just for your kids, so that you can do that. And if you're attracted to this at all, if this is something that you kind of feel like you're called to do, you can do it. You just need to make sure you've surrounded yourself with the right support.
And that's where Allies comes in, because they're for you to have those questions, to go to, and that we're really your allies. They're there for you, 100%.
I think the most important thing in a child's life is having support, you know, and that doesn't always look like your biological family, and it doesn't always look like a mom and dad. I think every child just needs love and support and acceptance, and that's what being a parent is.